The accident happened in Midtown.
Mike, Nyla's parents tell me she was a spectacular individual who loved life, especially her friends. They say she was supposed to start cosmetology school today. Now, instead of preparing for her next chapter, her family is preparing to lay her to rest. The deadly crash happened late Saturday night near the Topgolf on South Compton and Choteau. Police say Nyla Simmons was dancing on top of an SUV that was stopped at a red light. When the SUV turned, investigators say Nyla lost her balance and fell into the road.
Alright, what's up with the YouTube fam? I'm back again with another video, right? So listen, a couple of y'all been tagging me in this story and sending me different video clips pertaining to it as well. So I just went ahead and found a couple of different videos in the press conference and the parents speaking as well. So we can go ahead and watch the full thing and get clarity over it. Because I see a lot of y'all got a lot of things misconstrued about the whole situation. But before we get into anything else, I want to start this out by saying RIP to this beautiful young lady by the name of Nyla Simmons. Nyla Simmons just graduated not too long ago. She was just finna start cosmetology school Monday. And it's just so crazy she lost her life right before she was finna start this whole new chapter of her life. Now, I do want to say RIP to her, like I said, and I want to send my condolences out to everybody out there that had a genuine love for her, especially the mother and the father. These are some of the most strongest parents I've seen in a long time. And a lot of this, I think, comes from them still being in shock, but overall they're still strong. The way they're carrying themselves, and they're also spreading awareness about the situation as well. But some of the specifics of the situation is they're alleging that she was dancing on top of the car, on top of the Escalade limousine. But basically it was a celebration for her friend. I'm so focused on her, I didn't even know what they were celebrating. But I do know to a certain extent, but hell, I forgot exactly what it was. But it's in this video though. But you know, they're saying that she fell off the vehicle. Now they're saying that they don't know what they're going to do about pursuing charges on the person who was driving the vehicle, but she lost her life because of a fire truck running into her. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so crazy that this happened. It was like some of the most, you know, what is it called, Final Destination type of shit I've seen in a long time when it comes to something like this. But ultimately, you know, the person who was driving, I feel like that they should have said whatever they said, but at the same time, you can't control someone else. So, you know, it goes both ways. I just want to say everybody need to be careful. I see a lot of women these days jumping out of the vehicles, twerking and shit like that on the highways, not knowing the dangers that they're putting themselves in. And it is a lot of road rage out there. People will do something to you just simply for being on these roads, having a good time and stuff like that. But for her to lose her life is really, really sad, man. Real talk. Especially before you was going to start a whole new chapter of your life and being 18. And some of the things that the mother and father said really touched me, man, real talk. Just knowing that your baby lost their life the way that she did, and to just think about all of the years y'all had and all of the years y'all will never see, the potential that y'all will never see and things like that, man, it's just crazy. But let's go ahead and get into this. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything. We're going to talk about this in the comments. Let's go.
This is now the time to have those conversations. What should you do and what should you not do? I mean, this is horrible. This shouldn't have happened, but it did.
New developments tonight on a story you saw first on 4. St. Louis police now urging parents to talk to their teens about car surfing. This comes after they say 18-year-old Nyla Simmons was dancing on top of a car this weekend. She fell off and was hit by a St. Louis fire truck. Her parents hoping this tragedy is a warning for others.
A lot of people gonna miss her, but we ain't gonna never be the same.
I'm still in shock right now.
First Alert 4's Jordan Burrell is live at 5 with new developments in this investigation. And Jordan, car surfing is a concerning trend right now.
Yeah, Corey, as we learn more about this incident that happened right here at this intersection at Choteau and South Compton, police tell us today they do see an uptick in behavior of teens and juveniles hanging off of cars, dancing on cars as we approach the summer months.
Seriously.
It's a trend that stands the test of time. Video obtained by First Alert 4 years ago shows young people hanging out the window, the sunroof, and even standing on top of a car dancing and recording.
These grown old people too though.
Popular rap artist Glorilla, in her hit song from just 2 years ago, she raps about her and her friends hanging out the windows and dancing on cars at red lights.
Craziness.
A reaction that many people have when they see them in traffic. Police are investigating a similar incident that happened late Saturday night. 18-year-old Nyla Simmons was dancing on an Escalade at around 11:20 p.m. at the Shoto and South Compton intersection. When the driver took the left, Nyla fell off the car. Moments later, she was hit by a city fire truck on its way to a call.
This appears to just be a horrible accident.
Police say the Escalade Nyla was in seems to be some type of limousine, making the question of if charges will be filed against the driver even more complicated.
Young people do things that they may not necessarily do as adults.
St. Louis police say this is definitely not the first time they've seen or heard of young people surfing on top of cars or even hanging out of them in traffic.
But look, it ain't just the young people. These are grown adults doing the same exact thing. And they're the ones who are kind of putting this on these kids. They're just being impressionable to my, personal opinion. We got to have better leaders out here, people that's showing them and talking to them about certain things. And they mentioned Glorilla, but you can't fault her for what the hell they doing. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't understand why so many people are like infatuated with rappers and shit like that to the point where they will literally do whatever they say in a damn song, when in all actuality they don't even be doing every damn thing that they say that they be doing. They just sound good on wax, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, to try to blame others for others' actions is kind of crazy, but they are influencers and people are easily influenced. So, I feel like if you're going to be taking heed to anything that anybody is telling you, look at the positive shit that they doing and saying versus all the other rah-rah shit, you know what I'm saying? But I really don't want to listen to you no way if you ain't teaching me something, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. No disrespect to no other people out there. I'm just giving y'all my honest take on this situation. But yes, a lot of grown people that's doing the same exact shit that's really like showing these young people what to do. Hell, look at the people that's driving. You'll see, just look what I'm talking about. Type in people going to Houston. They just traveling out of town and shit, just jumping out on the interstate, dancing and stuff, not even knowing somebody might be drunk, flying, going 1,000 miles an hour and all that type of shit. Let's get back into it.
Sometimes we see slight increases when it comes to juvenile-related incidents, especially in the summer months. This is now the time to have those conversations. What should you do and what should you not do?
McCoy says it's hard for police to do anything special in regards to patrolling. Obviously, if they see it, they say something. But ultimately, it's a call on parents to have those tough conversations.
We cannot police our way out of this. At some point, parents have to take responsibility for their kids' actions.
McCoy says it's a regional problem. Many times the people involved are injured, but innocent people in traffic are too.
The incident, it's just tragic the way she died, but that's what hurt the most, the way she died. When Nyla was out having fun, that's what she like, having fun, hanging with her friends.
Nyla's parents want other people to learn from this tragedy.
And don't get on top of a car, y'all.
And we want all her people and her friends to take this and learn from it.
Now, this is still an ongoing investigation. Police did tell us today that everyone that was at the scene and involved are fully cooperating with police at this time. Reporting live, I'm Jordan Burrell, First Alert 4.
Okay, so look, this is the press conference where he's breaking down damn near everything. We know a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff is left out. And you'll hear some weird ass questions being asked too. But listen, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section, and we're gonna talk about everything. But ultimately, man, like I said before, RIP to her. Kids do make mistakes, and you just gotta look at it for what it really is. They young, they having fun, they turn, so they do crazy shit. And I gotta keep it all the way real. It's crazy, but you don't ever think that anything like this will happen to you, and there'd be a lot of people's biggest mistakes before they pass away. But look, I done say what I had to say. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and I'll holler at y'all later on another video. All right.
They'll be joining us for today's briefing. I want to update you guys on a few investigations that are ongoing right now, and then if there's anything else that you guys have questions about, then we can follow back up with you. I want to first talk about our accident reconstruction investigation that involves a St. Louis Fire Department fire truck. Our accident reconstruction investigators were called to that crash around 11:20 at the intersection of Choteau and South Compton. When officers arrived, they found a woman who was critically hurt. A very preliminary investigation reveals that the woman was on top of a Cadillac Escalade. She had climbed out of the sunroof, was possibly dancing on top of the vehicle. When that vehicle proceeded through the intersection, she fell off and was seriously injured, if not critically injured. Around the same time, a fire truck was responding with lights and sirens to an active house fire, and the woman was hit by the fire truck. She has been identified as 18-year-old Nyla Simmons, and she died at the hospital. That investigation remains ongoing. Everyone, though, is cooperating with the investigation.
In regards to the Nyla Simmons incident, are you guys looking to file charges against the driver?
We're still in the very early stages of the investigation and trying to identify exactly what happened in the vehicle. This was some type of Cadillac limousine. So, I mean, there's going to be some components to this investigation to figuring out if there was any ill intent with the vehicle taking off. Right now, I can tell you that the driver and everyone involved in the investigation is cooperating. This appears to just be a horrible accident.
Car surfing, has that been a larger problem in St. Louis? Do you see an increase around summertime? Do you see young people on top of cars?
We've seen certain instances during slideshows and people driving recklessly where they might be hanging out of the roof of the car. You might recall our horrible accident where a violent carjacker killed an innocent woman during a pursuit, where we shared with you, I think you were also at the scene, where two of those individuals were hanging out of the windows of the car, and they were creating a substantial risk to themselves and other people in our community. So it's not uncommon, but it's not something that you regularly see. But during instances of slideshows, you do see immature and reckless behavior where people are not thinking of themselves and the danger that they pose to them or other people in our community. And, you know, young people do things that they may not necessarily do as adults. And I think that as we enter the summer months, Siri's trying to give you guys some information too on it. I think that this should serve as a reminder for parents to have some of those tough conversations with their kids, especially when it comes to being out and about. We always have those conversations when it comes to summertime. Sometimes we see slight increases when it comes to juvenile-related incidents, and especially in the summer months. This is now the time to have those conversations. What should you do and what should you not do? I mean, this is horrible. This shouldn't have happened, but it did. And so now we have to try and understand the circumstances of that event and make sure that parents also communicate with their kids to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
And what does patrolling look like in regards to people hanging out the windows, on sunroofs, on top of vehicles? What does that look like?
It would be your regular patrol aspect to resources, and so I mean if officers see that type of behavior, they're going to be stopped. We also have the weekend detail that we utilize heavily. It was our weekend detail. This past weekend it was SWAT's turn that ultimately brought a shooting suspect into custody. So our weekend detail will focus on areas that see that type of behavior, especially the slideshow type of activity, and try and stop it when you can. I mean, it's a danger to themselves and others, and so we have to stop it and nip it in the bud when we can.
And are there specific areas that you guys see this more commonly than others?
It's a regional problem. I mean, it's not just the city of St. Louis where you'll see people acting immature and reckless. It's not a specific area in particular or a neighborhood that would see this. It can move across the city, and that's why it's important for our officers to, and the majors of those certain patrol areas to be communicating to try and make sure that we have an adequate amount of resources in areas where slideshows might be happening.
Was this a part of the slideshow or a rally, or was this just one isolated driver and person dancing on top of it?
No, this was just somebody that appeared to be dancing on top of a car at a red light.
Should people be calling these in if they're seeing people hanging out the windows of the streets?
Yeah, I mean, if it's suspicious, absolutely. But I mean, again, we cannot police our way out of this. At some point, parents have to take responsibility for their kids' actions. You know, we can stop a car and we can tell them to stop, but it's a juvenile as well. So at some point, parents need to be engaged in this conversation.
You mentioned intent with whether or not the driver could be charged, but could there be charges for some sort of negligence or something like that?
It'll be up to our accident reconstruction investigators to work with the circuit attorney's office. It does not appear that there was anything intentional about this, but obviously it's still very early. Our investigators still have a lot of work to do. They were still also investigating the crash at West Florissant Memorial from Friday night, so there's quite a bit of follow-up that needs to be done today.
Question about the multi-launch.